the B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The Moose.
You might not be an A, but you are a B plus.
Check it out! Here we go! You wanna mess with us? 'Cause we're steady on the ground.
All right, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, welcome to another B Plus podcast. I'm your host, Greg Unchained. Today is Wednesday. You know what that means. It's time for the King of Sportscast, where we would normally talk everything in the King of Sports universe with Big Boy Mikey. That includes Ring of Honor, CMLL, Rev Pro in the UK, and of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling, the King of Sports themselves. Unfortunately, Big Boy Mikey is overseas at the moment. I was going to fly solo last week, but as you can hear, I got the dreaded flu. It is flu season at the moment, and that has transformed into a chest infection. So I've been all sorts of struggling just to keep up with New Japan's Best of the Super Juniors. It's a show almost every day. But joining me, who has also been keeping up, and I presume with his full-time job, struggling to keep up just as much as anyone else is, Jamie Apps from Jamie Apps Media. How are you, man?
Good, thank you. And yes, I am struggling to keep up, but managed it somehow.
Yeah, it's the Best of the Super Juniors and G1 are the best worst times of wrestling fandom.
Oh yeah, I love these tournaments, but holy dooly, it's a time commitment every day or every second day.
Yeah. It used to be that you just get your hands on whatever matches were, talked about the most online, right?
Yep.
But now that NJPW World is a thing, we can watch all of them, and we're in Australia, we're only 3 hours difference. We can watch them live. And so it's too enticing not to.
Oh yeah, I love that they're 7 o'clock of a night time. It's nice and easy. Just sit down and watch the Super Junior shows every night.
Yeah. Well, it was super easy for me when my partner was at her old job. She changed job recently. Listeners to the show will know this because it's thrown my entire schedule out. And now sometimes podcasts are a little later than they should be because I'm with the kids on my own. It's a whole thing, and my schedule's been thrown out completely. And so I'm actually making the dinners and things now where I would normally have been able to use that time to sit down, watch, and record. And so now we're recording at all weird times. Like we're doing this on the morning people are hearing it, Wednesday morning. We're doing this at 8 o'clock in the morning, pre-work and everything. So it's my schedule is going to shit, brother.
I understand. Mine's all over the shop at the moment as well. So
yeah, it gets like that. But let's dive in and talk about. So we're going to skip all the Ring of Honor talk and stuff because keeping up with Best of the Super Juniors is a full-time job on its own. And let's just talk Best of the Super Juniors. Probably the biggest news, and I feel like we're doing a disservice to the juniors in this, but it kind of is the biggest news right now because it's just happened, 2 days ago, and there was a press conference overnight while we slept. So late last night, there was a press conference. Juice Robinson's Mystery Man has been revealed, and it was there in front of us the whole time.
yeah, it's a bit kind of obvious really now that you look back at it, but they put enough little clues in there to sort of throw people off the mark.
The symbol that he drew was like an hourglass because he was holding the hourglass, tipping the hourglass, and then grabbing the knife and scratching it, right? And so it looked like an hourglass, but really it was an M and an X inside an O. And when you expand it out, it's Mox. The challenger is John Moxley, hot off his debut for All Elite Wrestling, which they tried to keep under wraps as best as they could, but I think a lot of people expected it.
Yeah, it was kind of the person that everyone expected there, but I think the way they did it perfectly. So
they definitely did. They could have had him be the Joker in that Battle Royal, which Battle Royal was kind of a joke on its own, but they could have had him be the Joker there, but that's what most people expected, but instead he just sort of came out and destroyed Kenny Omega at the end. And yeah, now he's starting to announce indie dates, and of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling is not an indie, but they're one of the dates that he's announced. He's coming to Ryogoku Hall, Ryogoku Sumo Hall?
Yep.
Sumo Hall, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
He's coming to Ryogoku, and he's coming on June the 5th, the Best of the Super Juniors finals. So now we're going to get Hiroshi Tanahashi and Jay White. We're going to get an IWGP US title match between Juice Robinson and John Moxley, and we're going to get the Best of the Super Juniors finals. So it's looking like a pretty good card.
definitely, and I assume there'll probably be some tag matches in there as well, which will be awesome to see as well.
Yeah. What was with the Union Jack though on the jacket?
I have no idea. I assume it was just either the jacket he found or that put it in there as to throw people off the
like
mark.
strictly to throw us off, because everyone was talking, it's Chris Brooks, or no, it's Oka returning, the great Okan's coming back, and it was Moxley, and he has, as far as I know, nothing to do with the UK.
Yeah, unless it's a symbol of he's coming on the Australian tour.
Yeah, well, we do know that Michael Craven,
Yep,
the GM, is
Yep.
it Michael Craven?
Yes.
Yeah, he's been doing some interviews here and talking about, Hiroshi Tanahashi's not, or Okada was the one announced at the time, and he's like, Okada's not the biggest star coming, right? And to me, Okada is probably a bigger star than Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Yes.
At this point,
Yes.
safe to say. Yeah. So if the question was, if Okada's not the biggest star, who could it be? And my mind immediately went to, I did throw out Moxley on one of the podcasts. I was like, maybe it's Moxley, but I felt like he would go to All Elite Wrestling. Turns out you can do both, obviously, because Chris Jericho's doing both. I thought maybe Jericho is coming, right? Red Shoes is coming, which usually means title matches. So I thought maybe we're going to see Chris Jericho win the title from Okada.
Okay, yep.
And he would come to Australia.
Yep. Yeah.
But now it looks like maybe Moxley, or maybe both.
Both would be pretty awesome.
Why not?
That would
both?
guarantee sellouts at both venues.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you announce either of them, I think that we're going to see a huge jump in ticket sales.
Oh, for sure. I would imagine tickets will pretty much be gone as soon as they're announced, if they're announced.
Yeah. So that's Moxley coming to New Japan Pro Wrestling. How do you think Moxley adapts to the New Japan style?
That's a hard one because he's not known for his technical style. He's the brawler. He's very much sort of the Juice Robinson style, I guess, which makes sense that they're pairing him with Juice. I'm trying to think who else he would be compared to.
Well, he and Juice have a history as well. Obviously, they started in FCW on the exact same day.
I didn't realize it was the same day. I knew they were both in the territory at the same time.
Yeah, well, Juice has been telling the story now as part of the press tour. Like he had the press conference and things last night, and it started on the same day. And obviously, Ambrose, as he was known then, was a far better wrestler than CJ Parker. And so Ambrose went on to worldwide success, and CJ Parker was stuck in Florida. So I pulled my ass out of Florida, and I went and I became the best damn wrestler. I became Juice Robinson, right? And this is the story he's telling about how, this person surpassed him, but now they're on an even footing, and now they get to meet again, and it's going to be a different story this time than it was when they met in FCW and Dean Ambrose beat CJ Parker. So it's a pretty compelling story that Juice is out there telling.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited for the match. Because Juice is that flamboyant character, and then Moxley's just the total hard, edgy wrestler, like biker style.
Yeah,
so.
it's a very interesting dynamic. But the thing is, with Moxley's style, I'm worried that we've already got Jericho feeling that kind of Bruiser Brody sort of psycho, role, right?
Yep.
Is there room for two of those? I guess since they're both only going to be there part-time, maybe they take turns filling that role.
Yeah,
but
I assume that they won't be on the same cards every single time.
Yeah, but then come Kingdom or something, you're going to get two of those matches where... Because that's the role Jericho fills, right? Like, if I'm not mistaken, which Jericho can fill other roles.
Yeah, Jericho could easily change
which he's done a lot.
Which he's done every time he's come out to somewhere different.
Yeah, which we saw that at All Elite Wrestling too, the sort of the evolution of his entrances. I thought that was amazing.
I loved that entrance. It was perfect.
Yeah. But let's get that's sort of the big non-Super Junior news that we have to talk about is Moxley coming, of course, to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Very exciting development. I think that they're going to see a boost in subscribers on NJPW World. I think like everything that's happening in the wrestling industry at the moment is only good for the numbers and for the boys and girls
and the fans.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Everybody's winning at the moment.
Yeah, it is, and like I've talked about it for years. We're on the verge of a new boom period. Like I've been saying that since the Daniel Bryan story happened, right? Because the way the fans were feeling, it's like fans haven't felt like that in a long time. Yeah,
and that was the first time for a long time, we've seen wrestling crossover into mainstream sports with the Yes chant everywhere.
Yeah, the Yes chant happening at all the basketball games and like everywhere. Yeah. So, and I felt like from then to now, it's like we've been like 1990 to 1995 kind of thing. And now we're right there. We're right on the heels of this new war. And it's not just going to be two parties this time benefiting. It's going to be because New Japan are right there with All Elite Wrestling and WWE, I think. In terms of quality product and consistency of product, I think they're right there.
And the ease of access, I think every show is going to be very easily accessible for everyone to watch as well.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy to see it unfold, but something else that's been crazy to see unfold and tiring almost to see unfold, the best of the Super Juniors. Now, like I said, in the past, it would be that you would watch standout matches and things, but maybe like the last 3 years or so, it's been a watch every single thing. Now, of the tournaments where I've watched every single match, I feel like this is, depending on the final 2 nights, this is close. Well, the final 3 nights, I guess, because the finals count as well. Depending on the final 3 nights, this is close to being the best of the Super Juniors I've watched.
Oh, you get match consistency-wise very easily. Like every night there's been at least 1 or 2 brilliant matches that you have to watch.
Yeah. Well, I feel like last year, Taiji Ishimori and Hiromu Takahashi were they were putting on minimum 4-star matches every night, no matter who they were in there against.
Yep.
I think Taiji Ishimori, this is why I don't think Taiji Ishimori is going to the finals. I don't think he's been putting his all into this tournament this year.
Yeah, his matches have
compared to last year.
Been good, but they haven't been the top matches of each night, I don't think.
No, they haven't. And so I feel like he's got the famous Bailey, the famous Sasha Banks boo-boo face.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? Like, I'm not going to win this thing, so I'm just going to put in a half-assed performance.
Gonna do what I need to get by.
Yeah, which I don't want to put that out there in the universe. Hey, like, he might be working hurt. There's a million reasons it could be, as opposed to just attitude. So I don't want to put that out there. But, it's kind of how it's looked to me a little, because last time we knew he went all the way to the finals, and he was out, like, it was just banger after banger after banger. And El Desperado last year as well was putting on banger after banger, and I feel like he's been a real loss to the tournament this year.
Yeah, those last minute 2 changes, I think that's hurt the tournament quite a bit.
Yeah. We've had a third change last minute. Taka Michinoku.
Yeah, he's out for the final 3 nights.
Is injured. He's out for the final 3 nights. Have we seen what's happening? Are they putting a replacement in his stead, or are they getting buys, the people who were to face Taka?
The people that were to face him just get automatic 2 points for a forfeit victory.
Okay, so that's going to change the way they're booking things, because that wouldn't, like, surely, who are the people that he's set to face in the next 2 nights?
He has Marty Skrull and who from Suzuki Guns in his block. That's who he has to face.
Doki?
No, he's in the other block.
No, he's in block A, that's right.
Kanemaru?
Yes.
Yeah, so he had Kanemaru.
No. Yes, Kanemaru.
Yes. Kanemaru and Skrull as his last 2 matches.
Okay, so realistically, he was going to beat Skrull anyway. Realistically, Skrull was going to beat him anyway.
Yep, and I would assume Kanemaru was as well.
Probably Kanemaru as well. So it may not actually change anything points-wise. They probably haven't had to do any shuffling. Okay, yeah, because it's something like that. If he was set to get a win in the final 2 nights, for points reasons, it means you have to do a lot of work to reshuffle, because these things are intricately planned out.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that he was out for the final, like, he missed that match against Dragon Lee, and then the next day they said he was out for the rest of the tournament, I quickly checked who he was facing, and then I saw who it was, and I was like, okay, it's not going to affect the results too much, because Dragon Lee was going to win anyway, and the other 2 most likely would have picked up wins as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's have a look at the points and see where people are at. 2 nights of block action to go, and then, of course, the finals. In A block, clearly in the lead, we have Shingo Takagi, 7 wins, 0 losses, putting him on 14 points. Taiji Ishimori at 6-1 on 12 points. 10 points, we have both Dragon Lee and Marty Skrull. 8 points, Jonathan Gresham. 6 points, Sho Yoshinobu Kanemaru. 4 points, Titan and Tiger Mask. And on 0 points, Taka Michinoku. And remaining on 0 points for the entire tournament, Taka Michinoku. Is that a first? That someone's gone 0 points throughout the entire thing?
I don't know. I'm sure there's been young lions that have done it before. It's probably the first time somebody with any sort of name value has been on 0.
Yeah. And I predicted at the beginning that A block would be a clean sweep for Shingo because he has not taken any losses yet. And the first match of the A block action was the first main event was Shingo versus Sho.
Yep.
Right? Or was that the semi-main? No, it was the semi-main, and it should have been the main because it's a 5-star fucking instant classic, that match. That people need to watch. If you have not watched Shingo vs. Sho from night 1 of this tournament, like, holy shit, it set the tone for this tournament. But that was kind of a coming out party for Sho with his new music, his new like everything that he's got going on. And I said, if Sho doesn't win here, Shingo has to clean sweep the entire block.
He has to. That was the one person that I thought could beat him.
Right? Because when you look at the rest of the people in the block, Taiji, Dragon Lee could beat Shingo. Who's he got left in the final two nights?
The final 2 nights he has Gresham.
Yep.
And that's his last match, I think, because the 30th is the other block.
Yeah, right, because the other block, yeah. So Shingo's going to clean sweep this entire thing and walk his way into the finals.
Yep.
Which is pretty awesome. I guess Taiji and Dragon Lee could have beaten him. Like, they were also contenders, but I really felt like Sho was the only one here, and he didn't get the win, so I'm like, okay, wow, Shingo's going to go clean sweep. Let's talk about the A block before we move on to our favorite block, the B block. Let's sort of just take a look at each of the people and say what we think of how they've gone this tournament. We'll start with Sho because, oh man, it's been a coming out party.
This whole tournament, every match he's had has been worthy of checking out.
Yeah. Watch every single match. I'm just having a look at my ratings that I did on the Grapple app. Because I've been starting to use this Grapple app lately, which I'll tell people more about later. But we're starting to use Grapple on it, so I'm keeping track of actual ratings now, which people who know me know I'm not a huge fan of star ratings because it's so subjective. So this is purely my opinion, my take on the matches, but I don't have Sho at anything under a 3.5. Oh wait, I do have under a 3.5. I gave him a 3 for the match with Taka on night 5, which at that point Taka may have already been working hurt, to be honest with you, because Taka's matches took a bit of a
they slowed down a bit
after night 5. Yeah, so 3 stars is a minimum, which 3 stars has kind of been the average for the entire Best of the Super Juniors. Like, there have not been many stinkers at all.
I can only think of one that was pretty bad.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the same one.
I assume it would be in the B block. Yes.
In the B block. Yeah, no, I'm thinking of a different match then. There was a match that I thought and it may be because I was excited about it, and we'll talk about it now. So Sho, been a coming out party for Sho. People need to get around Sho. He's a future star, right? We can agree on this. Do you think I actually think he won't be long for the junior heavyweight division. I think, like, he's already putting on size. I think they're going to have him go up.
Yeah, he's going to probably chase Shingo. I imagine will be what happens.
Yeah.
He might go to the open weight for a little while, but I imagine he'll be chasing wherever Shingo goes.
Do you think he gets a run with the IWGP Junior title before going up? I think Shingo does. Shingo definitely gets a run before going up. Do we think Sho does as well?
No. I think Shingo definitely does, but I think Sho,
no.
He's done enough in the tag division that they'll just push him up before he gets his first singles title in the heavyweight.
Yeah. Yeah, or potentially the open weight. But I would love to see this Shingo Sho story drag out to, maybe another year. So not 2020, but 2021 Wrestle Kingdom, Shingo and Sho for the Intercontinental title sort of thing. You know what I mean? And then Sho finally gets that win. And just imagine the eruption, because the crowd love Roppongi 3K.
Yeah, and I think if they leave it until they both move into that heavyweight division, they can tell that story of Sho just needed that little bit extra size and power to finally overcome.
Yeah, which they love to do their long form stories here in New Japan. We know, the stories are Gato has 2 to 4 years blocked out in advance. So I feel like that's where this is going. Let's move on. The person I want to talk about next, Taiji Ishimori, who, like I said, maybe he's working hurt or something. Maybe he's distracted. I don't know. Or maybe he has the boo-boo face because he's not winning the tournament. And his matches have kind of suffered a little. Like he's had a couple of really good matches, but those are against sort of the people like Dragon Lee and the guys that you expect to have amazing matches anyway. But he had a match with Marty Scurll that I was very excited for this match because these are two of my favorite juniors, and it just wasn't working. They had like a few mistimed bits. There was one point where I feel like someone missed a spot and Marty was sort of like left being like, what the hell's going on? And had to improvise, but it was very clear. And we're talking like over a week ago now, so I can't remember the exact spot. It might have been a Hurricane Rana, like a top rope situation. But something went wrong, and it really felt like something went wrong in the match, and it never recovered.
I remember that match sort of just being like, that didn't really live up to expectations. I didn't think it was terrible by any means, but yeah, it was just kind of like,
well, I mean, I think on my ratings,
what I expected.
Yeah, on my ratings, I have, like, on my notes here, I have awkward match, 2.5 stars. Like, that's all I put. So I should have put more. I should have written exactly what made it awkward. But I thought that we were doing a podcast last week, and then I got sick, and because Mikey was overseas, it was just me. It never happened. So I probably would have had a better memory of it then, but I've watched so much wrestling in the period since then that it's all been good wrestling, which just makes the memory of it even more so.
Yeah, it's very easy to just forget those
match. I'll have to go back and rewatch it. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, too, because I like to be positive, so I like to focus on what I really like. Like, holy shit, Show has been amazing. Holy shit, Robbie Eagles has been amazing, right? Like, these are the things I like to focus on. So Shingo, of course, at the top of the block. He's the other real standout here with just amazing matches over and over again.
Absolutely dominating this junior division. He's been brilliant the whole tournament. And
there's a reason they're high on Shingo Takagi.
Oh, for sure. He connects with the audience so well. He's just crisp, clean, hard hitting, perfect for New Japan.
Yeah, but we talked about it. We don't think he's long for the division, do we?
No. When he was first announced in the junior division, I thought it was a bit silly.
Yeah. Well, once Hiromu comes back, it's like, okay, time for Shingo to go on up, or leave LIJ, which I don't see happening. I feel like he's actually gelled pretty well in that group.
Yeah, he fits in there, but maybe they do at some point build the tension between him and Naito.
Potentially, once he's up there in the heavyweight division, you could definitely see that. But in that case, I feel like Shingo could even lead a mutiny and take over LIJ long term. Like, this is something we'd be talking about 2 years away.
Yeah. Take Bushi with him.
Yeah, potentially. Bushi's over in B block. We'll get there shortly. Is there anyone else you want to talk about as standouts for A block, though?
Dragon Lee's been really good, which you expect from the champion. But
yeah, he's been consistent. His match with Titan was really good because they did a lot of lucha stuff without it being a lucha match, if that makes sense. Like, it still felt like a New Japan match. It didn't feel like I was watching CMLL.
Yeah, and they just gel so well. Their timing so perfect.
Yeah, and they would have worked together so much. That match was really, really smooth. Tiger Mask and Taka have both sort of filled that veteran taking pins role. They're not there for much else. Jonathan Gresham has been really consistent as well. Gresham works a style that I'm a huge fan of, that catch wrestling style. But I feel like he hasn't had a chance to really display that much of it. His match with Marty Scurll, though, was just that was bone match to me.
That was his match that has been the one for him.
Yeah. That was the match to shine, was Jonathan Gresham versus Marty Scurll, working all the limb manipulation spots and just counters after counters. Fantastic stuff. Yep. But let's talk about the best block.
Yep.
The B block.
B block has been awesome.
Yeah, I feel like it's been the stealing the show block, like, because we've had the last few nights as well. They've had just singles matches, just 10 singles matches in a night. Doubling up the blocks, and B block just consistently stealing the show.
Yeah, it's those joint cards where it's really shown how impressive the B block is, and they've been taking over.
Yeah, which when you talk about like Shingo, Taiji, Dragon Lee, Show in the A block, like it's like, holy crap, those guys are amazing. But then in the B block, El Phantasmo is having a breakout, Robbie Eagles is having a breakout, Will Ospreay he's Will Ospreay. Rocky Romero, holy shit. Is Rocky Romero the Tomohiro Ishii of the juniors?
As in sort of that veteran that is, you don't expect much, but then he just dominates every match, is awesome every time.
Yeah, the veteran that just no one, like he hasn't had major reigns, right? I don't think Ishii's ever had a major reign, has he?
No. I think
He's always been like never
intercontinental.
Yeah, he's never had a major reign. And, but he always, like when it comes G1 time especially, he goes in there and he has 4-star after 4-star after 4-star, banger after banger after banger. Every time you talk about the G1, you talk about, well, Kenny Omega's best match was against Tomohiro Ishii. Juice Robinson's best match was against Tomohiro. Everyone's best match was against Tomohiro Ishii, right? That's Rocky Romero this year.
Yeah, and all of Rocky's matches have been different too. They haven't all been the same, which is a credit to him.
Yeah, and he's a guy that gets underrated. Like when you talk about people's favorite juniors, when you talk about people's favorite heavyweights, no one mentions Ishii for some reason. When you talk about people's favorite juniors, people don't mention Rocky Romero. He's just so good at making other people look like $1 billion and flies under the radar himself. And it's like, holy crap, like this guy is so valuable.
Oh, if they ever let him go, they've messed up big time there.
I don't think they will, because he's working in the office and, he does the commentary spots as well. He's one of the, I enjoy him on commentary.
I love him on commentary. Well. Him and Kevin Kelly are probably my favorite duo.
Yeah. I that's something else we should talk about, actually, the rotating commentary. I feel like New Japan are really good at this rotating commentary thing where, because they're doing big tours and stuff, it's not feasible to have people blocked out for that entire run a lot of the time. And so they'll cycle, like Caprice Coleman has been on commentary. And when I first heard Caprice Coleman on commentary, I was like, oh, damn it. Like, I'm not a huge fan of his commentary in Ring of Honor. But he, like, throughout the week that he was there, he just grew into it. And, like, sitting next to a master like Kevin Kelly, he's obviously grown a lot just in that 1 week. And now I can't wait to hear him on Ring of Honor, see what he brings to the role.
Oh, I 100% agree. The first night when I heard Caprice, I was like, oh, this isn't going to be pleasant. But after 2 or 3 nights, I was like, no, Caprice fits now. It's perfectly fun.
Around night 3, he started making really good calls. Like, they started to get a feel for each other, knowing when to lay in and lay out. This week, Juice Robinson on commentary.
It's been fun.
It's been fun, man. Like, he's not a great commentator by any means. He's not sitting there commentating. He's being Juice Robinson.
And it's like just having a fan at the desk.
Yeah. What was it? He said something about the holy flippin' G. I can't remember. He's just, some of his calls have been insane because he's trying not to swear.
Yep.
But also
every now and then the juice comes out and it's like, whoops.
Yeah. And you hear him catch himself and it's just a delight. Sometimes I feel like it can take away from the match. But other times it adds to it because he does things like just yells at the people in the ring, like, what are you doing? Yep. Cover him. Right? And it's like, that's what I do sitting at home. So real excitable voice of the fan kind of Juice Robinson, which has been really fun sort of getting to know him in that role. But yeah, the New Japan commentary, I wouldn't recommend companies. Like if I was going to start a company, I'd be like, no, I need 2 men in the booth constantly. Right. But they managed to make this cycling commentators work. Juice isn't the only wrestler doing it. Gino, our very own Gino Gambino, first ever Australian to call a major promotion. And he's going to be there for the finals. He's going to call the Moxley and Juice match.
Maybe. I saw a tweet from Kevin that they may get Rocky for that match.
Oh, okay.
Just because of the history there.
Yeah, well, either way, Gino's there for the finals of the Best of the Super Juniors.
Gino's there for the next few nights, which is awesome. I loved Gino's commentary in the last tour. So
yeah, he did a great job. Gino. He did a great job on the road to, was it Road to Dontaku?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really good to see Gino getting more commentary. So he's there for the final nights, and I'm really enjoying their rotating commentary. But bringing it back to the B block, it was Rocky Romero we were talking about. Just insane the work he's done. His match with Robbie was amazing. His match with Will Ospreay was amazing. Like just every single match he's had has been minimum 4 stars. Even against Ren Narita. Just
and Phantasmo.
Yeah. Oh, the Phantasmo match was brilliant. Yeah, the drama. El Phantasmo has been surprising.
Yeah, he's working that different style to what everyone expected.
Yeah.
But he's such a jerk.
Yeah, I thought he was just going to be the flyer, right? Because that's what I've seen him do before. That's what I've seen him do in Rev Pro. and he's great at it. But there's a lot of people in this junior division that are great at it, and instead they're having him essentially be Jay White. He's cheating to win. He's really embracing that Bullet Club ethos. He is Junior Jay White.
Yep, and he's such a jerk that you can't help but hate him a little bit.
Yeah,
but it's awesome. Like, he's so good at that role.
And tied there at the top of the block with 10 points, El Phantasmo and Robbie Eagles, the Bullet Club brothers, are right there at the top of the block. And El Phantasmo has the tiebreaker over Robbie. I think that's what gets El Phantasmo into the finals. I think that we're going to see Robbie and El Phantasmo end on the same amount of points. And it's El Phantasmo's cheating ways and his defeat over Robbie that gets him into the finals against Shingo.
Yeah, or somehow he costs Robbie one of these last two matches.
Yeah.
To further build that tension that they've slowly been building throughout the entire tournament between those two.
Yeah, well, if he loses another match, then he has to cost Robbie a match so that they stay on the same points and that tiebreaker comes into play. But I feel like they've really emphasized on commentary that he has the tiebreaker over him.
The tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I feel like that's what it's going to come down to, because the story they've been telling, and let's just geek out about this for a second. Robbie Eagles has a solid, what looks like long-term story in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh, very much. I can see him coming down for that Australian tour and finally getting to split from Bullet Club possibly and getting that huge hometown hero reaction.
Do you think it happens that soon?
I only think it will happen there because they'll want that huge pop that he'll get in Australia, whereas in Japan he might not get it as big.
Right.
So that's the only thing that's tipping me over to think it'll happen that soon.
Yeah, that does make sense. It does make sense, but I know that New Japan don't like to rush things necessarily. So we could see it sort of start in Australia, I think. Like have some big moments in the story in Australia, but I don't think it's going to necessarily pay off here. But it looks like the way they're talking about it is, Robbie Eagles, there's like Juice especially has been putting this over, and it's been great hearing Juice on this because it's like, oh, does Juice want Robbie for Lifeblood, right? For Ring of Honor? Because he's sitting there, he's being like, I can see it in this young man. I can see, which I think they're the same age, by the way, Juice. I think Robbie may even be older than you. But he's like, I can see it in Robbie. I can see it. He's a good kid. He's a good person. And he's under there and he's struggling and he's only doing the things he's doing to fit in with these Bullet Club guys, right? And so the story here is, the Will Ospreay flag came into play, which, holy shit, they gave callbacks to PWA Call to Arms.
Yeah, wild.
On commentary as well, like Kevin Kelly
blew my mind. I was like, what? They just mentioned PWA. Yeah,
Kevin Kelly mentioned PWA. Like he was just like a step away from being like, check it out on overplay.com. Like it was amazing hearing him call out, which, I mean, obviously we've had Rocky Romero screw up the Eagles family before, which we got a payoff for that in their match with Robbie and Rocky. But the flag came back into place. So we heard the story of the flag on commentary and how, once he got that flag, it's been his goal to defeat Will Ospreay in the Best of the Super Juniors tournament.
Yes.
And they start the match by him throwing the flag back at Will Ospreay in a sign of disrespect, and Ospreay putting it into his tights. And they then proceed to have a match where Robbie is struggling to do the things he needs to do, right? I don't think it was as good as their Call to Arms match, the second one.
No.
But
Agreed.
But the story they told is setting up for something much bigger, where I think Will Ospreay went to do the Hidden Blade, and he hasn't pulled out the Hidden Blade at all in this tournament. But he almost needed to do it against Robbie, because Robbie is that much of a threat to him, because Robbie knows him so well, right?
Yes.
And so he almost used the Hidden Blade, but he stopped himself. I think that Ospreay wants Robbie in chaos.
Yeah, he mentioned that in the post-match interview that he did after it. He said he offered him a spot in Chaos. He turned it down and went with Bullet Club instead, but the offer is still there if he ever wants it, and Ospreay's holding onto the flag until he comes to get it.
Right. So I haven't watched the post-match comments. What was Robbie's post-match comments for that match?
It was him and ELP, and he was just saying to Phantasmo, you did that for you, not for the club. I didn't need you out there.
Yeah. So
And
sort
then
of the same
walked
stuff he
off.
was saying to him on the ramp as they left.
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't need to do that. I didn't need you to do that. And that was for you.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was for him so that he would have the tiebreaker as well. Because, yeah, the match with Will Ospreay. It's an insane story. And it looks to me like Robbie is going to leave Bullet Club. And, we've got, obviously, in Chaos now, there's going to be a hole there because Will Ospreay's going up. Will Ospreay, he's going to be in G1 this year. Calling
Yes, for sure.
right?
He has to be. And then he'll be, I think, one of the first people to do all 3 major tournaments.
Yeah. He'll definitely be the first to do both in 1 year.
Yeah, but also New Japan Cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he'll be the first to have done the Cup, the Best of Super Juniors, and G1 in the same calendar year.
Yeah, that's insane. And I think that that's something they want to give to him. I think they have very big plans for Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay has clearly shown loyalty. He doesn't ever want to go anywhere else. And I think that'll be rewarded. And I think he'll be the next Kenny Omega, so to speak, like in years to come.
Yes.
Right, that junior that just becomes a complete ace of the entire company. Will Ospreay, if he's not the face of that company in 3-4 years, barring any injuries or anything, and he's had an amazing tournament here as well. I think G1, once he's in the G1, like signed, sealed, delivered, Will Ospreay is Wrestler of the Year. There's no competition. Surely.
I can't see how anybody is competition for Will at the moment. Every match he goes out there with is almost 5 stars.
Yeah. Like
every year, the entire of this year.
Yeah.
It's like, Will Ospreay had another amazing match.
Yeah. And if he does all 3 in 1 year, like you can't give Wrestler, like PWI, theirs is in kayfabe. Even in kayfabe, he has to win Wrestler of the Year if that happens.
Yeah, even if he doesn't win any of the tournaments, it's still like he's been at the top of every single one.
Yeah. But so he's going up to heavyweight. So it looks like that spot for Ace of Chaos, Junior Ace of Chaos, is wide open for Robbie Eagles to slot into, which makes him a major, major player in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Exactly. And obviously when you look at Bullet Club, on the other hand, they're sort of flooded with juniors in their faction, so they do need to sort of move one away.
Yeah, and with ELP being a junior Jay White, obviously he's going to curry favor as that junior ace for them, right? So we may even see Taiji break away at some point from Bullet Club.
And sort of go his own way.
Yeah. Don't know where he would fit, to be honest with you.
I'm not sure.
Not
He'd
sure.
have to sort of almost be by himself.
Yeah, he could. I guess the main unit would be the place that those people tend to end up, sort of the misfits that don't fit anywhere else. But yeah, Taiji, because they're flooded with juniors at the moment, right? So definitely really good news for Aussie wrestling fans. And I know, I'm a huge Robbie Eagles mark, but I'm sitting here right now with the biggest Robbie Eagles mark I know.
Yeah, good friends with him. So
You've got a shirt for every day of the week. I've seen him.
I think I have more than that now.
Did you get the Mr. Sparkle one?
No.
I wanted to get the Mr. Sparkle one. He sold out too quick.
I told him he needs to make shorts or something else because I have too many shirts.
Yeah, Robbie, get some Moss shorts happening.
Yeah, anything. So anything else other than another T-shirt. I've got enough. Please.
All right, but other than that, B Block, let's talk about the 2 fill-ins, right? Ren Narita and Doki. I guess we'll start with Dookie. I've heard a lot of people call him Dookie, and I feel like that's just disrespectful.
Including Juice.
Yeah. But Doki, what have we thought of Doki?
He was the person that had the stinker match that I mentioned.
Yes.
His match before the Robbie match. Who was it against?
I'll have it here. Let me just look for my 2.5s. Or it might have even been a 2. Hang on.
Was it Taguchi? No. It might have been Bushi. But there was one match he had where I was
Taguchi.
like, that was Taguchi.
I've got Taguchi and Dookie as 2 stars. So
Yep.
yeah, that's
they just
the lowest
didn't
rating.
mesh.
Yeah.
He just every time he does something, he looks like he's off balance and about to stumble.
Yeah.
Like, it just...
I feel like the first few nights I didn't get it. I was like, why did they get this guy? Like, there's so many people that are freelance in Japan that could have filled this role, but they
He
went.
must have been the only person available for the entirety of the tournament. I
Yeah,
guess.
that's entirely possible. I mean, obviously he does work over in Mexico. He's sort of one of those guys that they use as a sort of a helper when they send guys over on excursion.
Yep.
Right, to show people around and to introduce people and all that sort of stuff. So he's obviously he's got friends in the office or that sort of thing. And so last minute they needed someone. He's a decent hand. We'll bring him in. And I felt like at the beginning of the tournament I was like, why this guy? Like nothing is working. But sort of towards once we get to the Karakuan matches, I felt like he sort of started to come into his own, and I sort of started to see it like, okay, he's not all bad.
Yeah, his match against Robbie is probably the best one he's had so far, I think.
Yeah, where he just busted Robbie open.
He tried to kill Robbie. But, yeah, like, if anything, that added, and it fit him. It added to the match, fit his style, I guess.
Yeah, fit the Suzuki-gun style as well. But I can't help but feel like this tournament would have been so much better with Despy.
Very much.
So
Despy or Flip, either of them in that spot would have been much better.
Yeah. Well, I think you do need the Suzuki-gun brawler, wild card guy, but I think Despy just does a better job of it than Dookie. Doki. Anyway, Red Narita though. Red Narita, he's ready for excursion.
Yes,
he's been.
Narita's been surprisingly good. It's been really good. This tournament.
Yeah. I make it a point to watch the Young Lions matches because I really enjoy seeing them, have to use their limited moves to put together a match. It forces them to tell a better story.
Yep.
Like I've raved about it on this show before, the Yoda vs. Yuya series where they kept going to 10-minute time limit draws, 10-minute time limit draws, and now they're trading victories. And it's fascinating.
I love seeing the development of those guys. It's a very interesting and unique thing that only New Japan does.
Yeah.
We get to see those guys early in their career and where they progress to.
Yeah. And so Ren Narita, I think at the close of this tournament, we have to see him go off. I don't know where he goes. I don't know if he goes to the UK and maybe Great-O-Khan comes back. Maybe he trades places with Great-O-Khan, goes over to Rev Pro, or if he's going to head over to CMLL. I think Ren Narita would benefit more from a trip to the UK than anywhere else.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that that's what happens, especially because Rev Pro is one that I do try to keep up on as well, whereas some of the American indies and things, I mean, if he goes to Ring of Honor don't have the best track record, in my opinion, with people on excursion, and CMLL I don't watch, so selfishly I want him to go to the UK.
Yeah, even Sho and Yo Ring of Honor kind of missed there.
Yeah, it just wasn't as great as it could. I think Ring of Honor is like the redheaded stepchild of this whole arrangement.
Yeah, if anything, I was shocked that they kept the connection so tightly after MSG.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Michael Craven's talked about it that, when they pick a partner for life. Like New Japan,
Yes.
that's not just the New Japan way, that's kind of the Japan way, right?
Yep.
And so I don't see that changing, but All Elite Wrestling are there being like, hey, look, we all have a really good relationship with you. We've done really big business together, and we still want to be friends. So I think if Ring of Honor can get past All Elite Wrestling being their competition and sort of be like, okay, you want to be friends, let's be friends. If Ring of Honor can get past that, then New Japan will come along for the ride, because you can tell they want to. I mean, they got Moxley, they got Jericho, right? Those guys have, and Omega even has an exception in his contract, even as an executive vice president, where he's like, I still want to work New Japan. So it's very clear that Tony Khan and the Bucks and Cody, they're all very interested in continuing relations with Japan. I hope New Japan come along for the ride, because I feel like I trust Cody and the Bucks and Kenny. I trust them with people on excursion more than I trust Joe Koff.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So, especially because Kenny's been there, right? Kenny's done that.
Yeah, Kenny knows what New Japan want and need from the development of someone young.
Yeah, and they've got like the Joshi division and stuff. They've got the OWE guys, like the variety of talent that they can work. I mean, Ring of Honor have a decent variety as well. They're bringing in a lot of lucha at the moment. But I feel like, well, then you've got AAA involved in All Elite Wrestling as well. So there's a real variety of talent and styles that they can work in All Elite Wrestling. So I hope that relationship comes to the fore, but it probably won't for a couple of years.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a little while down the line before anything major happens.
Imagine though if they do announce, like, no, Ren Narita is going on excursion and he's going on excursion with All Elite Wrestling. Imagine that. Like, it would be like, holy shit, the world has changed.
That would be huge news.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I'd rather it be with Ren Narita or if I'd rather it be with Uyemura, because I like Uyemura a lot.
This crop of young lions is really good.
Yeah. Well, the ones they've got in America too. The ones they've got in America that are working all the Ring of Honor shows.
Yeah, the guys on
some of them, those shows, they've been the highlights of the show.
Yeah, the guys out on excursion, the guys that are about to go on excursion. The future is bright.
Well, I'm talking about like Shibata's dojo guys from the LA dojo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Those young lions.
Not surprising with Shibata coaching.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. So who else in B Block? Who haven't we talked about? Yo, I guess Yo is kind of in the shadows because Sho has had such a huge... But Yo's having banger matches as well.
Yo's having great matches, but yeah, I think just Sho has stolen a bit of the light from him.
He's a bit of a show stealer.
Yes. Bandito has been a bit of a surprise.
See, I'm not surprised by Bandito in the slightest. I actually feel like I've been slightly let down by some of Bandito's matches.
That's the surprise I mean. I expected more from him, where he's not been as impressive as I expected. He hasn't picked up as many points as I expected.
Yeah.
If anything, I expected him to be where Robbie is and Robbie to be where Bandito is.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. And I'm really happy that it's turned out this way. And I think it does speak to that Ring of Honor relationship too, because Bandito in Ring of Honor, he's been made to look like $1 zillion. He's a star. He's, not losing. He lost a match to Roosh. He's that 21 plex is unbreakable, undefeatable. And and then he's in New Japan and it's like, oh, he's just another guy. He's, not that special. And it's like, well, that makes everyone in Ring of Honor look like trash.
Because Bandito is so low.
Yeah, and he's such a superstar over there, and so again, it's sort of indicative of where the relationship stands at the moment. I think.
Yeah, it's been very strange.
It's almost like that meme, with the couple walking down the street.
Yep.
And there's All Elite Wrestling and New Japan have their head turned. That's how I feel it's going at the moment. And Bushi is also there.
Yeah, started slow, but he's picked up a couple of wins recently. He's clawing his way back up.
Yeah. So what have we got on the final nights of action coming up?
Okay, so B block is Yo versus Narita, Bandito Robbie.
Yes.
Rocky Romero Bushi, Osprey Doki, Taguchi Phantasmo. And then on the final night, they have Taguchi Osprey, Romero Bandito, Yo and Robbie, and Narita and Bushi, and the final night main event, Phantasmo Doki.
Right. See, every one of
Although
those...
that may not be the main event.
Yeah.
I remember they said it could swap based on points, so we could end up with Robbie Yo as the main.
Which I think is a better main event, just because I'm not...
Or Osprey Taguchi, depending on point
Doki.
situation.
Yeah. Which Taguchi and Osprey are both on 10 points at the moment as well. So they're in the mix too. So Phantasmo and Eagles might drop down if their tensions play into every match. It may see them sort of fall down the ladder, but not fall down the consciousness.
Yeah, I could see Phantasmo Doki going early to give Phantasmo those points to be in the front, and then everybody else that needs to get those points being later in the show.
Yeah.
And then him possibly affecting an outcome.
Chase the heel, definitely. I can see that for sure. I think that every one of those matches you read out, though, they've got these final nights split where, on one side of the ring, you have someone who's had an amazing tournament, and on the other side, you've got someone who's there And so I feel like every one of these matches though has someone in it that can pull the match up, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Right? Like I think, did you say Ospreay and Doki have a match in there somewhere?
Yeah. On the 30th, I think.
Yeah. So if anyone's going to give Doki above a 3-star match, it's Ospreay.
Ospreay's the man.
Yeah,
Ospreay's the man to pull that out.
Ospreay's the man to go to. Eagles and Bandito. Eagles and Bandito is a sleeper, dude. Like that's a 4-star match waiting to happen if they give it the time and give it the right direction.
If they let them go anywhere near what they did at PWG,
was it Bask in His Glory? Was it? I think it was Bask in His Glory.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they let them do what they did there, that's another Robbie cementing himself as a major player.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very excited for that. So that's the final nights that we've got coming up. How do you see, now that we've seen the tournament mostly play out, who do you see walking into the finals, and who do you predict as our winner heading to challenge at Dominion?
So Shingo from the A block, and then the B block is wide open. I could see them giving Ospreay one last run, but the way they've been pushing Phantasmo, I think he makes the final, but ultimately falls to Shingo.
Yeah, so I originally thought that we'd see Dragon Lee and Ospreay. That was my original call, and I thought Dragon Lee would win and challenge Hiromu for a return match. But now I'm looking at it, and I think it's Shingo and Phantasmo.
Yep.
With Shingo winning and moving on to challenge. So, we're pretty similar there, I suppose. But that does it for King of Sports this week. Best of the Super Juniors has sort of dominated the headlines, obviously, and Moxley. But thanks so much for joining me, Jamie. It's been a real pleasure to have you in Mikey's absence.
Not a problem.
Where
Thanks
can people find you?
Jamie Apps Media across all social media, and then patreon.com/Jamie Apps Media.
Awesome. And I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter, B Plus Wrestling. We're a bit B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star review if you like what we do. And thank you so much for listening.